alive?
I'm alive.
You're alive.
Yep.
Hey, welcome back to another day. So today we have our Bronco Buggy. Brad has his cocktail. Makes it feel good on a nice sunny bright day like this.
Yeah.
And we are up at the Silver Lake Sand Dunes with our Bronco Buggy, which we got back when a family friend of mine had rolled it back in like 2006 or 2007. What year is it? Was it 96?
This is a 95.
Okay, 95. So 95 full-size Bronco, 351, and my friend was out on the sand dunes many moons ago and flipped it, landed on the front end hard and rolled right up on top of the roof. And they totaled the car, obviously, the truck, and my dad turned around and bought it back from the, was it insurance company or junkyard?
Insurance company.
Okay. And we decided we were going to make it into a Bronco Buggy, which you see behind us here, to use up at the sand dunes with a full roll cage so that none of us had to worry about rolling again. Don't look at me funny, because I did roll our full size back in 2019 at the Bronco Takeover. So Brad's going to tell you some of the things that we have done to it, and hopefully you can hear because it's like really, really windy up here. I don't know.
Right. Well,
so
to start with,
so
here's the end result of what we started with back in 2007. So when we first got it, we basically cut everything off, took the top off, cut the 8 pillars off, cut all the sheet metal. The only factory sheet metal still on here is the bulkhead and the floor. And we cut out the spot welds. We kept this part of the factory body so that we could put our 2x2 square tubing in there. So father-in-law Dan and I, we did all the square tubing work to set up a foundation, and then we were thinking, you know, the rest of it's too much for us to do, trying to do a square tubing, and we didn't have a tubing bender. So we took it into, I think Whitehall did the, from here to, oh no, Whitehall did all the round the tubing in the rear. We had the guy, and I don't remember his name, he worked for Wild Bill Rentals. What's the rental place called?
it was Wild Bill's.
Okay, so Wild Bill's, he did all the maintenance and all the work and all of Wild Bill's rentals, and we had him do this part of the cage, and he did an awesome job. Awesome price too for what he did.
For back in the day, because
yeah.
it was like 2010 at this point.
Yeah. So that's how that came to be. Dan and then father-in-law Dan and I, we did the windshield. He made the tonneau cover for it. Seats are just cheap eBay seats. I think we paid, at the time it was like $250 for the pair shipped. The rear seat's just a minivan.
It was out of a Chrysler Town and Country.
Yeah. The engine is literally a stock 351 that we put World Product senior heads on, 1.7 rockers, and it's got the Summit brand pace setter shorty headers. But other than that, that's the only upgrades that have been done. 2 electric cooling fans I got wired, so they just come on all the time. Never had shouldn't say we never had a run hot issue. We had a run hot issue, and that's when I decided, you know what? Buddy was selling the World Product heads, so I bought the heads, had them gone through, and then we put the heads on. And honestly, I think we had a head gasket that was going bad, so never had an issue with it running hot after we put the heads on it. We wound up having to take the hood off because the hood hinge ripped the sheet metal out right here from bouncing around and vibrating. So currently we're running no hood.
Which we like better.
It's actually better without a hood because that thing rattled and banged, but we just put a 2-in-1 factory air cleaner setup on it. We just did that today because we're still using the factory one in the air box where we had it. The tube was too close to the pulley, so this seemed to work pretty good. I mean, it's kind of hokey, but it gets the job done. Up until just, I think, 3 years ago, maybe it was 4 years ago, it was stock suspension. We towed it down to our house, and I got the Superlift long arm kit from Bronco Graveyard, and then I put Skyjacker 4-inch coils in the front, soft ride springs in the rear. You can see that I've got the Bilstein reservoir shocks in the front, and in the rear I don't have reservoir shocks yet, but I did make a extended shock mount system, so I've got longer shocks in the rear so we have more volume so they wouldn't overheat going doing crazy shit in the dunes. The tires we just put on, what, 2 years ago?
It's got to be 2 years now because pandemic and me rolling the other truck, we haven't really been out there for 2 years.
2 years ago, we still had 32 11.5 15 tires on it that were dry rotting in the tread, and I had blown the left front tire off. They rimmed twice, doing, turning too quick out in the dunes. But I got sick and tired of it. I'm like, we need new tires. So at the time, these Patagonia Milestars were, I got them dirt cheap. So now it's got 33 12.5s on it, 4-inch lift. Does a great job out there. Our next upgrades that I want to really do is we gotta get more comfortable seats. Those seats are junk.
Our seats, they do suck. Oh my God.
They are very uncomfortable, and it beats you up out there.
Yeah, if it ain't beating your chest up, then it's beating your butt up, because oh my God.
I would like to put, me personally, I would like to put 4 PRP seats, for front and rear.
I don't know, that bench is pretty comfortable.
I don't know. I think the bench, it did its job for what we were doing, but I think we'd be better off with better off-road seats back there than a minivan seat. It works, but we got plow lights for headlights. Those other lights I got from a buddy of mine. Fan on the trans cooler because it doesn't have a shroud, and I didn't want the trans to get hot, so I put a fan right on that. Other than, it's kind of an ugly duckling, but
it does the job out there for us.
It does great out on the dunes.
He left the sway bar on it because it acts
as our limit straps. Maybe one day I will do coilovers with a hoop in the front, and maybe someday it'll get trailing arm air suspension instead of leaf spring and put coilovers in the back. Obviously I got plenty of room to do it. But I guess I talked about the shorty headers, but it's got a we'll call it a catback, or actually no, it's not even catback. It's got a Bassani non-cat Y pipe, the Bassani muffler, the Bassani catback system, and it to me it's the perfect exhaust. It's not too loud at idle. It sounds great when you're at wide open throttle. It's just the right amount. Still has a 8.8. It's got an Auburn posi in it. Still 350. Still got 355 gears front and rear. One of these days, maybe we'll re-gear it. And that's really about it.
You want to go for a ride? You can't get in there. It's too big. You got your ride for Bronco Buggy? Yes, you want to go for a ride? Take me for a ride in the dunes. I go now.